Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup, though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup, though. Cocaine in my nose, yeah, got rose in my cup, though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup, though.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here and Jack Kinnett. All the lights are currently lit here on track, and it is go, go, go!
Down through the Mercedes teammate.
Denoso with a crafty manoeuvre up the inside. Masterclass from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
Shootout countdown, Danny Berezne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Foreman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
And a big good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to PSGL F1. It is round number 5 and we are here at the Hungary, just on the outskirts of Budapest. What a week we had last week in Spain. It was a bit of a different sort of league race, but a very intriguing one at that. And we are bound to have exciting action here tonight. Joining alongside me for this one is, of course, the fabulous Mr. James Head. And James, are you looking forward to tonight's action?
Oh, I'm always looking forward to the action here in PSF1. Once again, we had a fantastic race last week in Spain. Not so much for Cameron Dowds finishing down in 15th, but definitely it's one of those tracks where a lot of overtaking can happen, a lot of action can happen, and maybe even a threat of rain behind the Iron Curtain as well.
Yeah, you can see the results from Spain on your screen, and Cameron Dowds, the man who was in the lead of the championship as we went into that round, did not have a good evening. But one man who did, Ryder Dahl, who won by the skin of his teeth but still was able to take the race win. He wins ahead of Luca Rapassa in second, Rens Thomassen in third, Leonardo in fourth, Rayan in fifth, Enelor Ryan in 6th, Brando in 7th, Bell By in 8th, Matteo in 9th, and Volakongen in 10th position. James, as you mentioned before the stream, a lot of the drivers high up in the championship scored good points in Spain.
They did. Cameron Dowds was the only one outside of the top 5 that didn't finish in the top 5. He finished 15th. Everyone else did. Of course, Rotterdam winning the race. Rens Thomassen finishing third. Luca Rapassa, of course, championship leader, coming in tonight in second. It's going to be really intriguing, I think, to see how that develops. Everyone is in form, bar Cameron Dowds from the last race. So how will that interfere with everything going on tonight? Constructor standings as well, by the way, just for good measure, because we're back on the F1 World Cars here tonight. Aston Martin out on top on 50 points. Williams in second on 43. Ferrari third on 40. And then Hassan Sauber are 34 points, fourth and fifth. Red Bull in sixth on 19. Alpine in 7th on 15. And then Williams in 8th on 14. VCarb in 9th on 11, or RB as I like to call them. Mercedes there in 10th on 4 points. Every constructor has scored points so far this season. We better get going on track. And judging by how everyone's rushing out, we are not going to get rain in this qualifying session. It is going to be full measure dry running in this qualifying session, which I'm very much looking forward to.
Yes, of course, we've had a couple of mixed qualifying sessions so far this season, and then, of course, we had that wet Spanish Grand Prix, or at least it started in the dry and then went to wet action. But we have a dry qualifying session here in the Hungaroring. Qualifying very important here, James, as some people like to say, this is the Monaco without walls.
Yeah, the Monaco without the barriers, I think, is the full saying as it goes. It's going to be really intriguing, I think. Normally lap times around here in around the 112, 113 mark, so I think we're going to be seeing some really good lap times down here. Some of these guys have had experience in midweek as well. I know Ryan showed up for EML qualifiers around here as well, so he's got good measure of the track. He was very, very strong back then, and hopefully he will be right up there. But first man out on track is Ian Van Unen, who is in the poll, but is not who I voted for in the poll. I'm one of the other please comment rogue voters in the chat right now. But Ian Van Unen is the first man out on track. He's now coming to the left-hander at turn number 13, and then through eventually into the right-hander at turn number 14. I think, Evan, we'll commentate through this lap. Ian Van Unen.
Yep, Ian Van Unen heading for the final corner now, turn number 14. We'll ride on board with Ian. In the F1 World Car, of course, is Ian, but he is technically driving for VCarb. Down towards the first corner, there's a couple of different lines you can take through here, but drivers will look to hit that apex in third gear and accelerate out towards the left-hander. A little bit of a wobble on the steering wheel, but nothing too major for Ian. You want to get right on this curb here and sort of launch it in towards the corner, accelerate right out to it, hit that right-hand side curb, and then flick in for the flat turn number 4, or turn number 3. Up the hill, then you head to turn number 4, which is a ferocious left-hander. Cut as much as the inside as you can, and then just rotate the car through. Don't touch that curb on the inside, that can still chuck you off it and send you into a spin in towards the chicane. Use as much possible curb there on the inside. Tad too much for Ian Van Unen. Won't get to finish the lap. Oh, what a save by Ian Van Unen, but he did invalidate on that attempt.
I'm actually shocked that's an invalidation, because I thought he rolled on the inside curb very neatly, and I think that's how you attack the curbs around this track. Ian Van Unen, though, 52.4, it would have been through the middle sector. I think behind him is another green Kick Sauber coloured car in behind. Not sure who that might be, and we'll try and pick that in a second. Ian Van Unen, though, is coming around the final corner. We'll see what this lap time would have been. In the man in the Kick Sauber livery, you could call it. 1:13.4 is what his lap time would have been. The man in behind, about to come across the line, is NLR Ryan, and a 13.4. Why wouldn't it be Ryan when he's in the green-coloured livery with NLR? Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense, kind of. Repping the brand, at least, is Ryan. You won't be in too much trouble there. We have more drivers circling round. Flotman is one of them. He goes quickest. Here comes Shazoo Tom rounding in the McLaren livery, which is fantastic because he does actually race for McLaren, so it makes that a little bit easier for us. He goes fourth. Danny Van Routen goes to second spot. TF10 Dirk just heading through the first sector. Van Unen going for a second push lap, it seems. Here is Cameron Dowds, the former championship leader here in the PSGL F1 Season 37 Championship. He crosses the line just a 10th shy of pole. He's in fourth position. position. There's more improvements there. Luca Rapassa just about beats Cameron Dowds. He of course winning in Austria and just losing out last week. Rayan goes to third, a man very good in qualifying here. Last year's champion Matteo just circling around through turn number 3 up towards turn number 4. We're still waiting for a few times. Van Unen, one of them, he's going to have another go at it. No, he's into the pit lane, so Ian won't be completing the lap. Ryder Dahl heading for the final corner though. No, again, he's into the pit lane.
Yeah, I was on board with Rotterdam. He's back into the pit lane. Grando was on a set of medium compounded tyres, the only one out there on a set of medium compounded tyres right now. Didn't get a lap time in. He's back into the pit lane as well. So first ones are pretty much done. Hazara is coming through the final couple of corners. Looks like he's on a push lap, actually, coming through the left-hand of turn 13. And no, he's actually coming in the pit lane as well. What is it with people coming in the pit lane? Flopman, though, out on top. Danny Van Ruyten in second. Ray Ender in third. I can exclusively reveal Flopman is my pick for pole position around this track because he was very strong around here on Wednesday.
Shocking, that. Shocking, the man who's quickest. Wow.
Well, I didn't want to put anything in the comment section, but Flopman was the one. Yeah, he caught my eye on Wednesday. I was doing EML qualifiers on Wednesday.
Funnily enough, I said Lewis Hamilton was going to win the British Grand Prix this year, but I said it on the Monday after.
Okay.
So.
I should have said that earlier, to be honest, my pick.
100%.
Flopman the lad on top, Danny Van Ruyten in second, Rayen there in third. 0.02 of a second, though, actually, between Flopman and Danny Van Ruyten. Flopman set a 13 flat, if I'm not mistaken, in EML qualifiers in midweek around this track. So he is very strong. That's why I would have went for him, just based off that. NL Ryan currently down in 8th position, another strong driver around the track in qualifying. These guys, though, have to try and settle with their setup. We saw quite a lot of snaps coming through, especially the middle sector and the final sector around this track. That chicane, very, very vital. Ian Van Unen with one of those snappy setups is just coming out of the pit lane right now. Rodadal as well, running up the hill in towards turn number 4. But Flopman out on top. Danny Van Ruyten in second, Rayen there in third. Looking actually between first and 14th, it's what, 4.5 of a second covering 14 drivers, which actually around this track's not bad.
No, it isn't. It's a difficult track, especially here in qualifying. It's currently Flopman who is the quickest. Flopman last season in the PSF1 Championship finished 4th in the championship overall and did take a race win. 4 podiums as well, including that race win, but he wasn't given a main seat here for this season, so Flopman is a reserve driver. He is running the McLaren livery, but the McLaren team is Tom and Cameron, so that's the joy of the F1 World car, but hopefully we're back in our F1 24 official cars very soon. 11 minutes 30 to go on qualifying. The timing tower at the widest it will ever be this week, or this, in theory, race weekend, because they're all on outlaps. Ryder Dahl changes that, though. Across the line he goes down towards the first corner.
Yeah, race winner of last week, of course, in Spain, running now through the right-hand of turn number 1. Really locks up, actually. Misses the curb coming through turn 1. Nicely done, though, on the exit of the corner. Running down the hill now and toward the second DRS zone of turn number 2. And this is turn number 2 he's now going through. We're looking to try and get probably in and around that Leonardo Volakongan gap. There's a good 1/10 of a second that can be bridged there, I think, between 7th and 8th. Rotterdam's first sector is matching that. 26.5 in the first sector. Really neat and tidy. Through turn number 4, car killer corner as I call it, at turn number 5, and then in toward the chicane now at turn 6 and 7. You can really attack this chicane compared to others where you would actually go 3rd gear. You can actually attack that at 4th gear, which is what we saw with Rotterdam. He's in 4th, coming through this part of the lap now, coming to the left hand of turn number 10, and then toward the end of the middle sector split at turn number 11. This is a really neat lap from Rotterdam, proven with a 52.2 in the middle sector. So look at Luke Rapata, Cameron Dowds, Leonardo. That's where he's going to be going, I think, in terms of relation of this lap time. Now coming to the left hand at turn number 13, then in toward the right hand of turn number 14. Drivers just getting out of the way on the right hand side, luckily ghosted, but Rotterdam now flies his way through the final corner. Bit of a snap on the final corner, on the run toward the line. Call me Mystic James, and look at where he's gone. He's gone 7th.
Yep, 7th position for Ryder Dahl. Keep an eye on the rest of the drivers on the lap. Danny Van Ruyten won't be one to complete it, as he hasn't validated through the chicane. Van Unen heads down towards turn number 1, so close between himself, Danny and Flopman. Flopman, apologies, is improving on his lap, heading through the hairpin, improving by about 0.087 at the last sector split, but we'll see where he can go now. Here comes Flopman down towards the start finish, and it will be an improvement to a 113 flat. That's what he set in that other qualifying during the week that James keeps referring to. So there's plenty of time to improve upon it. Rayan as well, keep an eye on him. What's his Sector 2 improvement? Heads across it now, 52.2 for Rayan, so not improving enough for Pole, but still a good lap. Shizu Tom goes to 4th, just behind Van Unen. Volakongen across the line there, not improving. Leonardo goes to 2nd. Here's Cameron Dowds. Cameron jumps up onto the 2nd row. 3rd position for Cameron. Matteo heading for the final corner. Can the champion put something up here with Flopman?
Let's see, on the run to the line, it goes 13th in the end, 13.443. They've actually gone a 3,000 quicker than Renz, who's there in 15th back in the pit lane. Also improvements, I think, coming in there. I think that was Alpha Gully coming across the line. And Luca Rapata, championship leader, has just gone quickest out of everyone. 13 flat from Luca Rapata. The man who is in ET8, of course, against TTM's Flopman. Flopman, of course, was formerly Team Shizu and also F7L back in the day as well. Flopman there in 2nd, Leonardo in 3rd. Really, really strong laps. I thought Cameron Dowds' lap, actually, I was on board with his lap coming through the middle sector and final sector. That 4th position doesn't really tell the story of what time he lost in that middle sector. He had a real snap of oversteer. Coming through this corner here, he's going through at turn number 11, had a real snap through there, and also at turn number 12. So watch out for his next run. If he gets an improvement, I could see him going top.
Yeah, Cameron needs a good result after last week. Was in the lead of the championship, but now has fallen behind Luca Rapassa. So with 8 minutes to go in qualifying, he'll be very happy with how this session is going, because he qualified significantly lower in Barcelona. Rayan is going to head into the pit lane as well, but Rayan on pole position for the Spanish Grand Prix and the Austrian Grand Prix as well, I believe. And Rayan just heading into the pit lane as well, as they're all getting ready for their middle and final runs. There's enough on the clock if they want to go for 2 more runs. Some might be more willing to do that, and then others might want to save the tyres, but it's really up to what the weather conditions will be for the race, because if it's a wet race, obviously there's no point saving a set of soft tyres. But Rens Thomason is out on track again, and Rens currently in 16th place. Thomason 2nd in the championship last season here in PSGL F1, and managed to take 3 wins. No wins coming so far for Rens.
Definitely not. And I'm actually really shocked that he's down in 16th right now. He's behind Matteo, who, of course, won the championship last season, 13.443, his current best. He's 3,000 behind that. But Rens in 16th is... It's like Cameron Dowds, seeing him down in, 12th position. It's a bit rare to see, and Rens is definitely going to pull it out of the fire somehow. Hopefully he'll do it on this lap time. He's going to be the first, as you say, Evan, coming out through the right-hand at turn number 14, about to embark onto his lap time. I'll take you through the first sector with Rens, and then we'll go through the rest of his lap on board with the rest of the field. 6.5 minutes ago, Luca Rapata, Flopman, Leonardo currently on top. Rens Thomason, now the Flying Dutchman, on the run down in toward the right-hand of turn number 1. Neatly through the curve, now down the straight in toward the left-hand of turn number 2. The second DRS on, of course, around this track, being shared, of course, with the same DRS detection point at turn number 1. Now through the left-hander of turn number 3, or the right-hander even of turn number 3, moving up the hill in towards this first sector split. Expected 26.4, or 26.3 through the first sector. Rens is flying.
Yeah, very quick from Rens Thomason so far. Even if it was just that improvement alone, he would go on pole position. He's down at 16th, but the gap is very close between himself and pole position. Flicks it over the chicane with ease in towards the left and the right hander, and just pushing through there. You can see the car looking to skate off the circuit, but it doesn't. He just keeps it pinned, and look through there. It's ferociously quick. He's actually dropped a 1/10 of a second compared to his previous best lap, but still improving by a whopping 0.3 of a second, but needs to find a good bit of time here for the final sector. There's a lot of traffic, thankfully collisions off and the ghosting system in play, so Rens Thomason will not be hindered by them. Around the final corner then, what can the Dutchman do across the start-finish line? It's only good enough for 4th. He knows he's a bit of time in that lap, and he will have one more go here in this session. Flopman not improving in the first sector. Leonardo, will see what he's doing heading for the first sector in a couple of moments. Leonardo representing Ferrari, and you can see with the bright red that's heading through turn number 3 and up towards turn number 4. Leonardo is finding some time, as Cameron Dowds just behind as well. What's Cameron's first sector looking like? It is going to be marginal improvements as well, so there's a lot of small time being found, but nothing major from these front runners.
Definitely not. Flopman was actually one of the quickest in that first sector, 26.4 as you mentioned. He's 300th down in the middle sector, now coming through the final couple of corners. He's going to be one of the next, I think, to come across the line. In fact, he is the next to come across the line currently, but in fact, he comes into the pit lane. I think Tom is the man behind him, if I'm not mistaken, coming through the left-hander. Turn 13, he's improving, of course. The one-time F1 Esports Challengers man in 2023, the F1 Esports Challenger Series that didn't go into full exhibition. Tom now on the run to the line. 6th position for him. That's more like it from Tom. 13.1. Very good lap time from his perspective. Rens Thomason is done on a lap time. Danny Van Ruyten is done. Leonardo's back into the pit lane. And Luca Rapata, current leader of the pack at the minute in qualifying, is coming through this middle sector split. Much needed through that middle sector split. But he's 500 up. It was an improvement. But Luca Rapata is not improving on his current best.
Cameron Dowds does improve, and it's 3rd spot for the Scotsman. So he is up and into the 2nd row of this race. Ian Van Unen not improving on his time. He was well up there at the front of the grid, was in that 2nd row a few minutes ago, but now he's down to 12th. This goes to show how big the moving is. George Ansell, currently 14th, behind Van Unen, or he was behind Van Unen, but there's now a car between them. That is last week's race winner, Ryder Dahl. George Ansell, a man who needs to improve upon his results, as he wants to remain in this F1 tier. Bell by down in 19th and Hazard at 20th. We are waiting to see quicker times from them. I still think they can go quicker, but with 3 minutes left in the session, it's all just kind of easing off for now. No one on push laps, and we are waiting the final qualifying shootout here at the Hungaroring.
Definitely so. Looking at the field as well, 1st to 20th covered by just less than 0.5 of a second. 1st to 15th are covered by 0.2 of a second. That is how close we are talking about right now in terms of Hungary. Who didn't say F1 World Cars in Hungary could be a thing? They are a match made in heaven right now, judging by how close this qualifying session is. Judging by your comments and your poll votes as well, Luca Rapata 40%, Ian Van Unen on 23%, Cameron Dowds on 20%, and now after Flotman has dropped all the way down to a very pitiful 2nd position right now, he is there with 16% with the other please comment. Let us know in the comment section though right now who you think is going to get pole position, whether you agree with me and think it's going to be Flotman, whether you agree with Evan and you think it could be somebody else, or whether you just think of your own opinion and you don't care who gets pole position and you're just here for motorsport action. We would love to hear your opinions. I think the first man out on track is, speaking of the Frenchman, TTM Flotman.
Yes, it is Flotman. Who do I think is going to get pole? I think whoever gets pole is going to get pole here in this one. So, one of the 20 out.
You can't say that.
Track. Of course I can. Why can't I? If anyone disagrees, I can just click the stop streaming button and no one sees who's on pole. So, you know, that's all I'm saying. But here comes Flotman rounding through the final corner. As we know, I don't make predictions on PSGL streams because they'd all be very wrong. Here comes Flotman down towards the first corner then. And this is sort of a crucial sector, James, for him to get right. There's a bit of a lock-up into the first corner.
Yeah, but he's going to go again, potentially. If he messes up this run, he's got the ability to try and go again. Now running down into the left-hander turn number 2. Very aggressive on the curbs. And I think, honestly, he should bail off this lap time. I don't think this is going to be a perfect first sector, and that's exactly what he's done. He's just missed, actually, the point. 200s down in the first sector. So he's actually not too far off. But I would have bailed on that lap time and gone again. But judging by how much battery he's going to be left with towards the end of his lap as well, that is not going to be gaining quite a lot, as now Flotman comes through this left-hander of turn number 8, then through the right-hander of turn number 9, flicking it eventually left again through turn number 10. This is not looking too bad through the middle sector, but Flotman, I'm concerned he's dropped time in the middle sector, and he has, he's 600s down.
Yeah, it looked quick, but he has dropped a bit of time. Well, he can't really bail out now because the tyres won't be ready for another push lap, and certainly the battery won't at this stage. So you've got to try ride this one out and try take pole position. Here comes Flotman through the final corner. Is the Frenchman able to do anything out of this final sector? Here comes Flotman across the line. He does improve marginally, but it's not by enough to take pole. And look who's right behind him. It's Cameron Dowds down towards turn number 1. So he's going to have a go here. Luca Rapata is improving in that first sector. So looking to step up the margin that little bit more. It's very close, but Rapata improving. Let's keep an eye on Cameron Dowds as well.
He's on it. Luca Rapata is absolutely on it, coming through this middle sector. 51.9 in the middle sector from Luca Rapata. Might be putting pole position out of sight, but he's just made a big mistake. Coming through the right-hander turn number 12. Now through the left-hander turn number 13. Cameron Dowds is 400 down to the first sector, 26.4. And Luca Rapata getting very scrappy, coming out of 13. Now through the right-hander turn number 14. On the run to line. Does he improve? Yes, he does. 12.9. He found a lot of time in that final sector compared to that mistake that he made. He's made a lot of time up in that final sector. Cameron Dowd's now coming through, 52.1. The 2 tenths off on Luke Rapata, but he's up on his personal best, and he could be up on Flopman right here. Now coming to the left-hander turn number 13. Leonardo only managing 5th. Ian Van Unen there in 7th. I think Oscar's just gone 15th as well. Further down the field, Ryan and Ryan have backed off their laps, as well as Tom. He's just come across the line. Big improvement form. I think that was Vola Kungan going 4th, and Cameron Dowd goes 2nd. So not a bad run there at all from him. Flopman obviously done. Danny Van Ruyten now going 2nd as well. Rens Thomason not on a lap time. Alpha Gully now, the Sea Gully, on the run toward the line. Can he go any better? No, he can't. 200s down, 10th position, I think. That is everyone done. It is indeed. Luke Rapata out on top. Danny Van Ruyten in 2nd, and Cameron Dowd in 3rd. Luke Rapata's lap, and that big mistake through turn number 12, enough to get him pole.
What a great lap by Luca Rapasa, the man on form here in PSGL F1, and he is a force to be reckoned with. Luca Rapasa on pole by over 1/10 of a second here at the Hungaroring. That may as well be 1 full second. That is how close it's been here throughout the field, and Rapasa is a level above in qualifying here around the 4.381 kilometre circuit. And there's work to do for Cameron Dowd in the race now, because even though he had a good qualifying, he has still qualified behind Luca Rapasa. So Cameron will be looking forward to this race. But it is Luca Rapasa on pole, Danny Van Ruyten in 2nd, Cameron Dowds in 3rd, Flopman in 4th, Brando 5th, Volakongan in 6th, Leonardo in 7th, Van Unen in 8th. Then it is Rens Thomason in 9th, Alpha Gully in 10th, Sea Gully, he's called now, seemingly. Shazoo Tom in 11th, Ryan in 12th, Rayan 13th, then Ryderdal 14th, Oscar 15th, then it's George Ansel, Dirk, Mateo, Bell Bai, and Hazara. Folks, we'll debrief this qualifying in a couple of moments. Welcome back, folks, to PSGL. Restart, of course, after qualifying to make sure everything's in order for the main race. And qualifying, a very interesting one around the Hungaroring. But James, you said he was on fire. He was on fire. What a lap by Luca Rapasa.
It was a great lap time, but he made a mistake coming through turn number 12, and I'm not going to forgive him for that, because that was nearly perfection around that track. A 12.9, a 10th clear of his nearest rival, very strong lap time, but he knows he made that mistake coming through turn number 12, so you've just got to think what that lap really could have been if he ironed out that mistake coming through the end of the middle sector, coming down in towards turn number 12. It was a fantastic lap time, and honestly, I think compared to F1 23, Luke Rapata's rebirth has been on this game. So far, he's championship leader. So far, he's topping the standings tonight. Could he make it a perfect 3 and win the race and extend that championship lead? Only time will tell.
Yes, Luca, of course, winning his first PSGL F1 race here this season. He was in PSF3 in season 36, and he didn't win a race in it. Did get 2 podiums, but still, winning a race and a podium, very different. Any sim racer will tell you that. He got 2 second places, so he's already managed to beat that once here this season in PSF1, and he managed to take a win. It would be quite something else if he could take another, but there's still a lot of quick drivers behind that we still have to consider in this one, James, such as the man starting on the front row with him, Danny Van Ruyten.
Yep, Danny Van Ruyten, of course, 3-time Road to Max. I don't know what he's won, to be honest, but the Dutchman has done absolutely everything, I think, within the karting world. Definitely proving that in the sim racing world as well. Ahead of Cameron Dad's, head of Flopman, two very noticeable names that I thought could have got pole position here tonight. But Danny Van Ruyten is right there or thereabouts. In fact, actually, compared to the standings coming into tonight, we've got quite a lot of the top 5 within the top 10 in qualifying, which I think is really, really strong. I think the only exception to that is Rayen, down in 13th. It's a disappointing qualifying session from him. Ren's down in 9th, I think, is quite disappointing as well, even though he's 2/10 of a second off pole. But that is what perfection looks like for these sim racers, for these guys out on track, because perfection doesn't normally come in buckets and spades, but when you get a lap like Luca Rapata and when you get a mental advantage over the rest of the field, it does go a long way for your confidence. And I hope drivers potentially will have that confidence and that mentality going into the race.
Yes, Danny Van Ruyten, 3-time Dutch karting champion, as James mentioned, in the Rotax Micro, Mini, and Junior. Very confusing, Rotax carts. But nonetheless, Hungaroring, very interesting track. James, big overtaking zones. Where are we thinking?
Turn 1, definitely down in towards turn number 1, perhaps around the outside of turn number 2, maybe on the inside of turn number 2 as well, up the hill and towards turn number 4. Chicane's probably a bit of a car park, to be honest, so definitely not going to get any cars going through there side by side. Maybe down in towards turn number 12 as well. I've seen quite a lot of late dive bombs in this game down into that corner, maybe through the final corner as well at turn 14. There are endless opportunities, to be honest, to overtake. I think the main one, though, is going to be down in towards turn number 1 and turn number 2, because that's where the DRS detection point is, and that's where most of the action is going to be happening. Looking through the comments, by the way, hope you're all doing really, really well. Let us know who you think is going to win the race. I'm not going to go towards Evan because he doesn't apparently predict on PSGL, PSF1 streams, which is a complete lie because he has predicted things in the past. But yeah, true. I'm gonna stick my neck on the line. I did say Flopman for pole, and you know how that went. He finished down in 4th. I am gonna go for the win. I don't know, if we get a little bit of rain, I think Volakongan could do quite well.
Oh, that's an interesting prediction. Volakongan always running well around the Hungaroring. And keep an eye on those who maybe haven't won a race ever in PSGL F1, folks, because this Hungaroring circuit likes to give drivers their maiden win in Formula 1. 6 times it's happened. Damon Hill, Jenson Button, Fernando Alonso, Heikki Kovalainen, Esteban Ocon, and of course, more recently, Oscar Piastri. So this Hungaroring circuit likes to give drivers their maiden wins, and I wonder, could we see someone from down the field maybe just take that? James, in terms of the strategy, is it our usual league racing strategy if it's all dry, of a hard to medium, or vice versa?
Yeah, caught a quick glimpse of F2 just before we came live, actually, and most of them were going to the hards right at the start of the race. Quite a few of them were going mediums. I think I saw one driver on a set of softs further down the field, but most of it is going to be set of hards, set of mediums right at the start of the race. Hards are way more durable around this track. Will last you about 40% on 20 laps, so they are very much durable around this track. Medium compounder tyres probably get around lap 16, lap 17, and then transition onto a set of hards, probably about the halfway stage. If you dare go on a set of softs, dare go on it at your own peril, because they're about 7% wearing around this track, and they die off within 6 or 7 laps. So if anybody goes for a set of soft compounder tyres, probably best not to.
Yeah, sounds kind of similar to Barcelona in a way, but we're getting ready in the pit lane now. Drivers just getting their final preparations in this one. It's going to be a 618-metre run from his grid slot to turn number 1 for Luca Rapassa to defend from Danny Van Ruyten. And then it's a dead even split of on the throttle and off the throttle at this track. It's about 50% of the lap at full throttle. So, of course, a lot of tight corners, a lot of flicks to the left and flicks to the right. 15 out of the 36 we've done more than 36 Hungarian Grand Prix. 15 out of the 38 Hungarian Grand Prix have been won from pole position, and as of recent, so keep an eye on those coming from down the field. Another man to keep an eye on, I think, Ian Van Unen. He's usually very good around circuits that are kind of flicking to the left and to the right, because he won his first ever PSGL race in Suzuka, so very good at this sort of track.
And I think that's an unofficial prediction. I think we can take it from Evan Dalton there in the
Yeah,
comms box.
kinda.
P8, Ian Van Unen is down there. Rens Thomason, though, is right behind him in ninth. He should not be forgotten about at all. The likes of Tom, the likes of Ryan, very strong around this track. However, the 5 red lights are about to go out here for PSGL, PSF1. It's round number 5, and it is... Lights out and away we go, and a great start by Luca Rapata. Ignore that because it's DRS enabled. Ignore that. It's only on lap 1 as we now come down the hill in towards turn number 1 on lap number 1, and Flopman leads the way just about. Sorry, Luca Rapata leads the way from Danny Van Roten, but they're side by side going through. Neatly done. Everyone in Goldstein on my end. I'm not sure if that's the same on your end, Evan. Now coming down the hill in towards turn number 2. Cameron down to side by side, while the Congan side by side with Ian Van Noonen as well. They're coming through turn number 3. Don't want to make contact because it will cause damage throughout the field. Somebody running wide there in the back, but I think that might have been Dirk. But now everyone fixes itself. Luke Rabata leads. Denny Van Royten in second. Cameron Dowds in third. So pretty much stayed as we are. Flopman's non-existent car, clearly in the first sector, is there in 5th, and he is valid within the lap. So he is there in 5th.
Yeah, Flopman, bit of desync. We're now back to the first lap as well. We jumped to lap 2 for a brief moment, and someone will be in trouble with NLR Ryan because they weren't actually meant to get racing yet, but they obviously readied up. Ian Van Unen up 2 spots. He's ahead of Vola Congan and Leonardo, so a great start there from Van Unen in the slightly different coloured V car for today's race. He's looking to try and get past Flopman, of course, who had that issues at the start, but it's all clean in towards 1 for Luca Rapasa. He's in the race lead ahead of Danny Van Routen in second, Cameron Dowds in third, Brando in fourth. A little bit further down the field, George Ansel has got a spot early on. He's ahead of Oscar Bell by getting past or Matteo. Mediums for the top 7, then it's Hartz for Leonardo at Rens Tomasin, and then it is a whole swap and change for them a bit back behind. Ignore Flopman's Delta, he's not a minute and 16 ahead of Ian Van Unen, just quite yet.
Yeah, it's probably about 3 tenths off the back of him. There was an attack there down the hill and towards turn number 2. Alfred Gully and Rens Thomason side by side through turn number 3. Rens trying to muscle on the inside line. Now coming up the hill and towards turn number 4. They both lean each other. Rens Thomason around the outside. Beautiful move in the end. Rens Thomason gets back ahead of Alfred Gully, who attacked him to the inside of turn number 2. Got back around the outside on the inside through turn number 3, but Rens Thomason, that is how you battle back, my friend. He is through his in tonight. Alpha Gully in 10th. You would think Alpha Gully on that sort of medium compound tyres would be really good, but Rens Thomason has just outschooled him around the outside of turn number 4. Really nice move. Yes, there was a bit of contact, but that's what you come to expect with this car, with these cars.
Yeah, great move from Rens. Not a typical overtaking corner, certainly in a series as competitive as PSGL F1, so that is really impressive from Rens, who would still like to take a podium, or still certainly think he can take a podium here at the Hungara Ring. Fastest laps of the race changing. It's Cameron Dowds who has it for now, and he's looking to put Danny Van Routen under a bit of pressure. 0.3 of a second separating himself and the car in front, and he'd like to make a move very, very soon. A little bit further back, Rayan on the back of NLR Ryan as well. That could be a battle for 12th. Then there's 2.5 tenths separating Van Unen and Flopman still, as Flopman's actually got a very slow run through the corner. So Ian Van Unen, he won't be close enough heading up towards turn number 3, as Flopman is just on the battery button, extending that gap a little bit. So definitely no move from Van Unen in towards turn number 4. Rayan hot on the heels of NLR Ryan. Ryan 8th last season in the PSGL F1 Championship. Took 1 podium, that was a 3rd place in Brazil. So he is looking to just keep Rayan, the 2-time pole sitter this season in PSGL F1, right behind him.
Yeah, Rayan, of course, right on the back of Ryan. Ryan, of course, a 1-time winner in PSGL in Austria, I think, in season number 35, if I'm not mistaken, on my notes. As Rayan now comes down the hill in towards turn number 13. I've been watching the ball with him throughout the entirety of that. There's a car in front, just gone one. That's Alpha Gully. See Gully maybe getting caught potentially there, napping by Tom, and Tom's all over the back of him. They're in 11th. Rayan on the back of Ryan. Rayan looks so much quicker in a straight line compared to Ryan, compared to Tom, compared to Alpha Gully. And now because Alpha Gully has made that mistake, he's coming back to Tom. Everyone is now going to be incentivized to go for a move. Speaking of which, Rydal now on the back of Rayan to the inside line of turn number 1. Tries to support the inside line. Last week's race winner doesn't get the move done on the man who finished 5th, I think, last week in Rayan. He's there in 13th. Rydal there in 14th. But currently, out in front, Luca Rapata leads the way. Was 0.6 of a second. Gap is halved in a lap. And Danny Van Roten currently sitting pretty on 35%. Luca Rapata on 38%. And Cameron Dowds, 92%.
Cameron as good as ever at saving his ERS. He is an absolute ace at it at this point, especially on this F124 game, and he's able to make such a difference by doing so. Just has the pace to keep up with his front two, and now he is actually burning a little bit of the battery, but still able to save it for the time being. Rapasa leads by 3.5 tenths of a second here in the 4th lap, soon to be 5th at the Hungaroring. If you're just joining us, folks, welcome along to PSGL F1, and please make sure to pop a subscription here in the live stream and support the championship. We greatly appreciate your viewership, and we greatly appreciate your support. This is getting very close as Brando. Wow, that's an early pit stop into the pit lane. I wonder, is this one going to be for a wing change or something? We'll have to keep an eye on that. Is there going to be a move in towards turn number 1 from Danny Van Routen? Okay. No, there won't. Cameron stays behind.
No, what? I'm flummoxed, absolutely flummoxed. Set a hard compound of tyres, unless he's taken my strategy quite literally in terms of this. Rayen and Matteo, though, are into the pit lane as well. So I'm actually not surprised. They're going in a set of hard compound of tyres. Matteo clearly going for a set of hard compound of tyres. I did say they would last around 20 laps on 40% worth of tyre wear. So maybe drivers being incentivised by that, and maybe they're trying something different, as Ryan is up side by side with Alpha Gully. Through turn number 4, gets the job done. He's through and he's in descent. Alpha Gully is struggling now. Maybe on that set of medium compound tyres, maybe these tyres are actually worse wearing than what even I did in my Grand Prix runs a little bit earlier on in the day. But Luke Rapata leads the way. Danny Van Royten in second. Cameron Dowds in third. Cameron Dowds is looking very pretty, isn't he? The Flying Scotsman right on the back of Danny Van Royten, the 3-time Dutch karting champion. Is Cameron Dowds going to use his outschooling on the back of the karting champion? Only time will tell. Flopman looking not too bad and behind, but expect, I think, Evan, maybe more pit stops, the rogue pit stops coming in, as Luke Rapata is in.
Yeah, they're all pitting very early, but for this strategy, I think they need pretty much a safety car free race to do it, which we're getting. We're not getting much incidents this season in PSGL F1, but they just want track position, and they think the track position is more crucial than the strategy. As here comes Ryder Dahl looking to fling it around the outside of Alpha Gully. Alpha Gully is being overtaken left, right and centre at this point, so he's going to try and defend with all his might. Here comes Dahl down the inside, that gap closing, and Ryder Dahl ends up on the sausage curb, but he turns in towards the left-hander, still gets the move done. Last week's race winner was a bubble of confidence, and he's up and ahead.
Yeah, that was really nice, actually, from Alpha Gully rather than Rotterdam. Rotterdam forced the gap to the inside line. Alpha Gully just moved across at him, realised there was a bit of contact, and then he got out of the way. Now George Ansell, the Williams Racing LAN esports event winner, bit of a mouthful to say for me, is right on the back of Alpha Gully in behind. Now coming to the left-hand return and right in the pink coloured livery, obviously running Alpine, I think, in real life. In normal Formula 1 cars, which it isn't here tonight. George Ansell coming now through. If I was Alpha Gully, I'd be in the pit lane. Those tyres are absolutely shot already. They are on, 6-7 laps into the race. And Alpha Gully's tyres look like they've gone about half race distance right now. They are looking absolutely shot. George Ansell is not coming in the pit lane because he's on that set of hards, but Alpha Gully decides to, so does Ryan. Both of them into the pit lane. Early pit stops, definitely the order of the day. Championship, the lead of the race actually changing. Cameron Dowds through on Danny Van Royten. Not surprised, actually, but it is moved done through. And Leonardo to the inside line in the very much F1 World coloured Ferrari-looking livery. Volokongan is side by side with them, however. Down in towards turn number 2. And Volokongan just about gets half a car length ahead just to maintain the position.
Yeah, George Ansell in that pink and purple car, which you would very much expect to be an Alpine. It looks like that. No, he actually drives for Mercedes, so he's clearly not helping us here in these F1 World cars like Tom, Cameron, Leonardo are. And Flopman certainly isn't, because we have 3 McLarens out on track currently. But yeah, he's actually in the Mercedes, teammates with Danny Van Routen. No, sorry, I've got that completely wrong. He's in the Red Bull, which is even worse. So he's in the pink Red Bull, teammates with Danny Van Routen, and Red Bull having a decent season in the constructors thanks to Danny's good points. But George needs to pick up his results, is currently doing so in a points playing place in 10th position, and he's got good pace here at this Hungaroring, but is on what is seemingly now an alternative strategy, weirdly enough.
Yeah, definitely. So the guys in the centre mediums are probably going to last for about the halfway stage now, I think, unless they decide to come in from around about lap 10, lap 11 maybe onwards. Dirk to the inside line on George Ansell, and gets the move done even before he gets to the corner. Yeah, through turn 1, so Dirk through, and yeah, neatly done. Through and he's into centre. Luke Rapata passes lap of the race as well. Luke Rapata, speaking of which, actually is in clear air. ahead of Brando. They both are on the same strategy as each other, probably going to the end of the race potentially on this tyre. So, and they're 5 seconds clear of Rayend, and Rayend's on the same strategy as well. So it's really worked out well. Luke Rapazza and Brando, around about a 19-20 second loss in terms of pit lane loss around here. So currently, gap between Luke Rapazza and Cameron Dowd, 16.5 seconds. So by my calculations, if I'm good at maths, Luke Rapazza will be about 3 or 4 seconds ahead of Cameron Dowd at this stage if they were to pit this lap.
Yes, this is clearly working well for Luca Rapazza. The ETA team engineers that I assume are being provided to their drivers are doing a fantastic job here, as always. But at the front of the order, here we go. Cameron Dowd's into the pits and Danny Van Routen. This is very intriguing here in the 8th lap of 35. Not often when you see pit stops, but it's going to be very interesting to see where they come out in relation to Luca Rapazza, who is heading in towards the final corner now. He's Brando 0.6 of a second behind, so Brando will be in contention here as well. But keep an eye on Cameron, keep an eye on Danny, and keep an eye on Vollekongen. Cameron just coming out of the pit box now, has a late pit box, so it's a short run down the pit lane, but Luca Rapazza is miles in front, as is Brando. This has worked out very well for them both. We'll see the gap now as Cameron will click up on the timing screen once again. 3.5 seconds between himself and Brando. 3-second penalty for Ian Van Unen at the front of this one, but Luca Rapazza is playing a blinder.
Yeah, and my math skills clearly are matching what I predicted there as well. 3.6 seconds between Cameron Dowd and Brando. Exactly where I expect them to come out in. As I say, around about a 19-second pit loss around here as well. Francesco Largo is very surprised by people pitting in early because of that comment that I see in the chat.
So
I'm actually not surprised. I'm actually not surprised they're pitting in because the holds are so durable on this game and they're so durable around this track. I'm really not surprised that they're pitting in early. It's going to be a stab in the dark later on when they decide to come in the pit lane and maybe act for a two-stop, maybe go to a set of soft compound tyres. I highly think, though, and highly suspect it is going to be one to go for, as now we're going to get action down the straight. Leonardo on the back of Ian Van Unen, Tom on the back of Renz as well. And now Leonardo pulls the outside line, very late on the brakes, very deep on the brakes as well. Through turn 1, Ian Van Unen shuts the door on him. Coming through turn 1, he's still there though, Leonardo, down the hill, in towards turn number 2. Better act on this very quick, and here comes Renz Thomason on both of them, round the outside. Beautiful move. Renz Thomason is an absolute god. He's like a hawk, absolutely flown out of the sky. Renz Thomason Thuni's into second. Leonardo there in third. Well, Leonardo and Ian Van Unen were too busy getting caught on each other. Renz has just snuck up the inside, gets the job done. Thuni's into second. He's like a silent assassin out on track.
What a brilliant move by Thomason, now looking to try and make the move on Flotman. Flotman's medium tyres clearly not in a good state, and Renz Thomason wants to be in charge at the front of this grid. Let's see him as he heads through the right-hander. Could even be a dive in towards turn number 12 if he plays his cards right here, but more likely to wait for the DRS on the main straight. Got two cars, or overtook two cars I should say, in towards turn number 3 the last time round. He only needs to overtake one now, so the brave moves are out of the way. No pitting here from Flotman, even though everyone else, bar Ian, who started on the mediums, has, meaning Renz Thomason will be able to get the run on him, and I think this is going to be a lot easier than the last overtake down towards the first corner. Leonardo and Ryder Dahl looking to go battling as well. Leonardo actually looking to get second place here in this one. He's side by side with Flotman now at turn number 1, and Flotman, bit of a wobble on the exit. This medium tyre really in a dire state of affairs, and Flotman is down to third. He's lost 2 positions at turn number 1. Dirk now ahead of Ian Van Unen, and there's a bit of a front wing gone flying there somewhere, so someone has lost a bit of carbon fibre off their car. Dirk hangs it round the outside through 4. Dow and Flotman side by side. Ryder Dahl just sticking his front wing down the inside. Wasn't able to make a move. Now Tom is on the back of Ryder Dahl. It's all kicking off at the front of this Hungarian Grand Prix.
Getting a bit of Scandinavian drift going on there, coming through turn number 5 as well. This is absolutely brilliant to watch. Flotman's tyres are done. He needs to come in the pit lane. He's got to hold up Leonardo and Renz a treat, but Luke Rapazza's 5.1 seconds behind on Brando. If they catch and Flotman holds all of these guys up, Luke Rapazza and Brando potentially could be in trouble later on in this race, and Renz and Leonardo will be the ones reaping the benefit as Flotman is there in third. Ryder Dahl try to force the inside line through turn number 4. I honestly would have risked that to the inside out of turn 4 because it looked like he had the car ahead before he got to the corner. He backed off though. He wants to go for the easy move down and towards turn 1. An easy move is what he's going to get because he flies past him halfway down the straight. Tom coming like a scalded cat down the straight as well, down and towards turn 1. And the F1 Esports Challengers man is through. And George Ansel in the background getting a neat move done on Ian Van Unen. That's a lovely move by George Ansel. Through and he's into 7th, using that Williams LAN event experience to good effect. Flopman, though, down in 5th. He's lost 2 positions for the price of 1. Could lose 3 positions for the price of 1. It's like buy 1, you get 2 free in a supermarket right now because Dirk gets the job done on Flopman, and Flopman needs to come into the pit lane because otherwise he's ruining his own racer's chances.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't come into the pit lane, considering all his fellow medium-tire compatriots, Barry and Van Unen, didn't. So, very, very intriguing indeed to the strategy from Flopman. Cameron Dowds, fastest lap of the race you might have saw the last trip round. He is catching Brando and Luca Rapassa. Do not rule out Cameron Dowds just yet in this one. He was 2nd in the season 35 PSF1 Championship. He was 3rd last season. He wants to round out all top 3 positions and win here in season 37, and he knows he's got to take some big results and provide some big performances to do so. And he is looking to claw in. Van Unen comes into the pit lane. Flopman, weirdly enough, James doesn't. And I don't understand that decision entirely. He's been overtaken by George Ansel.
I've literally got my hands in the air because I don't know what he is doing right now. Flopman being out there. Ian Van Unen's came into the pit lane. I think he's pitted in 4 or 5 laps too late, personally. I think Ian Van Unen's going to be right down the back of the field, and he is. Ian Van Unen's going to be behind Hazara, and he could be side by side with Matteo. And it's not often you see the PSGL PSF1 champion down in 20th position right now. Matteo is having an absolute dire race. He needs something to try and kick up, but because of the strategies, he could be reaping the rewards later on. He could be gaining the positions of the top 8 that haven't came in the pit lane just yet. So Matteo's race, not done, but I think he needs a VSC or a safety car ideally to get back in contention. Leonardo, though, leading the way. Ren's in 2nd, Rotterdam in 3rd. Rent is all over the back now of Leonardo, still stalking and hunting his prey right now. Oh, Leonardo, my God, big spin, nearly half spin, coming through turn number 12. Goodness me, that is Scandinavian Drift 3.0, something like that. Leonardo, how on earth he's kept that car in the race, I do not know. Rens Thomason is right on the back of him. This is going to be like taking candy from a Ferrari baby running down the straight in towards turn number 1. Rens Thomason now takes the race lead after Leonardo produced one of the, can I say, sexiest drifts I think I've ever seen.
Leonardo providing the goods as here comes Bell by and Luca Rapassa now trying to get past Bell by, and he's caught up to the pack, the non-pitting pack, so he's going to lose a bit of time here actually, and this will assist Cameron Dowds. Luca Rapassa trying it the long way around the outside here on Bell by, and this is so risky. Bell by, look at it, just push him right through the corner, still side by side Rapassa and Bell by. Brando looking to get involved in this one. Rapassa in a dangerous position but flicks it around the outside, and that is truly a superb overtake by Luca Rapassa. Brando gets all hauled up. Has Brando got damage potentially?
No, I think he got his rear wheel caught on the grass, if I'm not mistaken. He got forced so far out wide from Belbelby and Luca Rapassa having their aggressive battle. He got one wheel stuck on the outside curb at turn number 4 after the exit of turn number 4, and he's got his wheel caught on the grass, and he's gone for a bit of a half spin. He's had to correct himself. He's still roughly within DRS range, a second behind, but that is costly for Brando.
Yep, and now look who has DRS right behind him. Cameron Dowds is in 10th spot, but is only 7/10 of a second off Brando. This will become 3rd provisionally once everyone in front of him does pit, but Luca Rapassa quite crucially making that move on Bell by. The Haas driver being promoted from PSGL F5 the last time he raced in PSGL, putting on a bit of a defensive showing against the current PSF1 Championship leader of Rapassa. I'm surprised Bell by defended as hard as he did, because that just kind of hurt his chances a little bit. Here's Volakongan and Rayan battling down towards the left-hander. No move there for Rayan.
And Volakongan's actually got the move done. He's through and he's into 12th position. Rayan there down in 13th. My little yes there kicking in the background, because Volakongan is my potential race winner, and he's looking quite good right now, I've got to say. He's going to be, what, net P5, net P6? Yes, it's not going to be a net win, but anything can happen in Formula One. Anything can happen around the Hungaroring, and it usually does. With 15 laps out of 36 completed, Renz, Leonardo, Rodadell, Tom, Dirk, your top 5. Then it's George Ansel, Luke Rapata, Belbelby, Brando, Cameron Dowd's top 10. Belbelby's got a penalty, by the way, as well. Ryan, Volakongan, Rayen, Danny Van Rooyen, Oscar top 15, Alpha Gully, Ian Van Unen, Hazara, Flopman, and Matteo right down the back of the field in 20th position. Not often, though, Evan, you see a field around Hungary covered by 22.4 seconds. Leonardo, though, going for the race lead.
Yep, Leonardo is into the race lead ahead of Renz Thomason, and Brando is looking to make the move on Belbelby, crucially, as is Cameron Dowds. Cameron Dowds has gone for them both down the inside and late braking, and there's a bit of contact between the three of them, and Brando has been involved once again. He's come off the worst of the pack. He was on the outside, almost being spun round. It was very similar to Max Verstappen at the race start when he had to run off the circuit. Brando didn't run off the circuit, has got past Belbelby nonetheless, thankfully picking up no damage, but he is behind Cameron Dowds, and Dowds is up and ahead of Brando now needs to chase down Luca Rapassa. It's 2.1 seconds once again, so just as he caught, he has to do it all over. 16 laps in to this Hungarian Grand Prix, and it is Leonardo in the front, Renz Thomas in second, and it is Dal, Tom, Dirk, Ansel, Rapassa, Dowds, Brando, Belbelby, your top 10, and then 4 seconds back to Volakongan, although it will be 1 on the timing screen because Belbelby has just picked up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings.
He has indeed, and I think that's the second one of the night, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Just have a quick look at the penalties. He's got 15 seconds worth of penalties. Where's he picked that up from?
What?
Tom on the back of Rodadell in the meantime. 15 seconds worth of penalties.
That can't be 5
That's
corner
mad.
cuttings, surely.
I'll have a check of the race director. Ren's going for the race lead on Leonardo. Around the outside of turn number 1, gets the job done, and Tom to the inside line of turn number 1 on the back of Rodadell. Rodadell, of course, winning the race last week in Spain, getting hunted down by Tom, who goes for the double move, the double switchback coming through turn number 2, trying to get the move done on Leonardo, forces him out to the outside line, and Tom has the traction, has the run. That is the experience coming into play. Tom Thuney's into second, 2 for the price of 1, and Tom now sets his sights on the silent assassin ahead of him.
Yeah, Shazoo Tom showing his experience, but he's gone all over the curb, and that allows Leonardo straight back through. So Tom, just as he said, he showed his experience. Leonardo gets the move done. Leonardo got all out of shape on the exit of the chicane, but crucially, Tom didn't have enough space to re-overtake, and Leonardo is up and ahead. Renz Thomason is going to be blasting the battery button down this straight, because there's an opportunity for him to break the DRS between himself and Leonardo. Here's Dirk trying to make the move on Ryder Dahl. He's not able to get up and ahead. The two PSF2 graduates not able to, not swapping positions there, but still potentially able to get a podium place in this race. There's still plenty of time to go, and a lot is going to change once these hard tire runners come into the pit lane. But I think one big talking point is, have the other guys pitted with the knowledge that overtaking isn't possible around here? Because the first 18 laps of this race have proved that theory absolutely wrong.
Yeah, they have proved it absolutely wrong, and Volakongan's about to prove that theory wrong again, because he goes for the move on Belbelby down and towards turn number 1, gets the job done. He's way too hot on the brakes, though. Volakongan, he's like Peter Solberg coming through turn number 1 there right now. Volakongan coming down the hill, gets the move done, or doesn't get the move done. Danny Van Rooyen gets the move done on the back of Ryan, so he's through, he's into 12th. Ryan, they're down in 13th. These guys are all on the same strap bar. Belbelby in this move, in this pack. Belbelby's 4.1 seconds off the back of Brando, and he has got 15 seconds worth of penalties because he's been overreaching the limit so much on these lap times. Volakongan's not going for a move here, surely. Inside line of the chicane. Are you kidding me? Never going to fit 2 cars through there. There goes Danny Van Rooyen on 1, maybe on the other. It's getting very scrappy coming through the mid-part of this lap. Belbelby's surely going to have damage because it's understeering like an absolute bolt coming through there. Danny Van Rooyen there in 10th, Belbelby there in 11th, but Belbelby has got to have damage. Oh, and he does now because he's in the wall and he's set upside down. Belbelby, huge crash, safety car deployed out on track, not surprised, car upside down, Belbelby tagged there, I think it was by Danny Van Rooyen, if I'm not mistaken, didn't deserve that. Belbelby, though, he looked like he had damage before that, and in the end, he has damage now, he's out of the race, safety car deployed out on track. What did I say 4 or 5 laps ago? The race can change in a heartbeat, and now it does.
And what did I say 4 or 5 laps ago? It only takes one safety car for a lot of these strategies to go wrong. And one of those strategies could potentially be Renz Thomason. They had already passed the pit lane by the time this safety car came out, and they have caught up to the safety car, meaning they will not get as much as a free stop as others. The race leader on the fresh tyres is George Ansell, but he had to go for the mediums. Are they going to make it to the end of the race? We'll have to wait and see. Also, was a penalty, so it will be very difficult to keep the race lead, but George Ansell is your net race leader for the safety car restart. Unless, of course, Volakongan doesn't come into the pit lane. I don't think he will, but on the freshest tyres, the net fresh tyre leader, I suppose, is George Ansell. Belby, not a Monday night to remember, unfortunately, for him. Certainly a crash that he won't forget, but he won't remember this race for the right reasons.
Yeah, definitely not. I feel sorry for Belby because he didn't deserve that, to be honest. He was oversteering quite a lot. He had that moment with Volakongan. In the end, though, the lead up to that, though, I think Volakongan could have easily waited for that move at somewhere else in the track. I think the blame partly lies with him. They're in 6th position. Stewards obviously are going to investigate that. There will be definitely a stewards report into that. But Volakongan, with that move down the chicane, all of that unsettled the car from Belby's perspective. So it does lead up as the top 5 are coming into the pit lane. Volakongan now leads the race out on track. Kind of hope that he doesn't get a penalty now, because he's now leading the race. He's in the perfect position where I want him to be. Rens Thomason has picked up a 10-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. That is disastrous there for Rens. He is down now right at the back of the field. He's coming on that sort of medium compound tyres. Mediums are going to be very hard to come by right at the end of this race. Are they even going to make it? You mentioned that a little bit earlier on. Are they even going to make it to the end of the race? I don't know. This race is now absolutely changed in perspective. Volakongan leading, Alpha Gully second, George Ansell in third. My fear is everyone pinned on the set of mediums, they've been forced to do that by the game, and they're probably not going to get to the end of the race on that compound tyre. Judging by how the mediums went in the first stints, they only lasted, what, 10, 11, 12 laps max? They've got no chance of making it to the end from here.
Well, yeah, they had no choice really, because they got to serve the mandatory tyre rule. In theory, they could go back onto the hards, but like those hards won't really be able to get to the end of the race. Flotman, 10-second penalty for a severe collision with Ian Van Unen. We can only imagine what that is for, but there was a couple of penalties around the field. We'll have a look at them now. Seemingly George Ansell cut the entire pit entry, hence why he's got such a good position here in the race, but that is only going by what the stream chat's saying. Free for Ansell, free for Oscar, 6 for Van Unen, 10 for Flotman, and crucially 10 for Rens Thomason. This could be a very interesting safety car restart.
It's going to be a very interesting safety car restart, and here we go, because the safety car is going to come in this lap. Volakongan now virtual Bert Malander. He is now the virtual safety car. Let's find out what happens on the safety car restart, because it's going to be absolutely fascinating to see what now transpires in the now 16, maybe even 15 laps of this race that is left out on track. Volakongan now has won around this track before in PSGL. Season 33, where he took 32 laps on a set of hard compound tyre. So he can do it before. Can he do it again here in Hungary? Now, absolutely flies. Coming through the right-hand turn number 14, we're back pretty much on the green flag racing. Alpha Gully holding up George Ansell, a little bit of a treat there. And now Volakongan's got a gap. 0.5 of a second coming across the line. Rens Thomason, I think, is going to retire the car in the pit lane. But George Ansell now getting the move done, shooting to the inside on the much fresher medium compound tyres. Much better than Alpha Gully's, and easily done. George Ansell through and he's into second. But Volakongan escapes up the road as if he's going to try and win again.
Yep, here's Luca Rapace looking to fight with Alpha Gully as well. It was a very difficult move on Belby in towards this corner, but Luca Rapace, oh my goodness me, that is a piece of driving excellence. He has sent Alpha Gully to the shops. Cameron Dowds gets through as well, but Luca Rapace just teeing up the switchback in beautiful tactical ways. Ian Van Unen gets ahead of Oscar. Oscar going a little bit slowly into the chicane. I'm not sure Oscar wants to hold up Ian Van Unen too much here in this one. Van Unen and Alpha Gully, both teammates of course, both involved in top 10 fights. As look at this, Brando looking to get past Alpha Gully as well. George Ansell looking to go for the race lead. He's right behind Volakongan. As look at Brando, he is ahead of Alpha Gully. Danny Van Routen is ahead of Alpha Gully as well. Dirk is out of the session. That's the same corner last time. Safety car back out.
Yep, safety car back out, and it looks like he's got caught this time, as opposed to Belby on the right-hand side of the track. He's got caught on the left-hand side of the track, so I think he's rolled on the inside curb. That is actually good for everyone on the set of mediums right now, because they could use this opportunity to come back in and maybe put on a fresh set of hard compound tyres towards the end of the race. Alpha Gully is certainly going to try and change that. He's on a set of hards right now, going into a set of mediums. Flopman has sped into the pit lane as well, but now we're back under the safety car even. They have already caught up to the safety car, so Volokogan can't really come into the pit lane. But is that entirely a good thing? As Flopman now goes for a set of soft compound tyre, which is definitely not going to make the end of the race from here, unless I am absolutely mistaken. Unless I'm
it'll be out for one lap and then back in for another fresh set is what he'll do to try serve those penalties.
Yeah.
But him and Ryderdale had the same pit box, and Flopman had to serve a penalty. So he probably could have turned off the engine and went for a cup of tea while he was waiting to serve that pit stop. But yeah, Ryderdale is down in 17th place. He's gone for a fresh set of hard tyres in a lovely, lovely position there. This gives Volokongan a few more laps leading a PSGL F1 race, which I'm sure will be a treat for the former F2 champion. In terms of that Belbelby incident, I am going to try get us on board for the stream, folks, because that was a monstrous crash. But free retirements now. It's Dirk, Renz and Belbelby. I think Renz might be a little bit frustrated that he actually retired, because he could have gone in under this safety car and got rid of that penalty and still tried to get something out of this.
Yeah, definitely. So I think, obviously, serving that penalty under the safety car, it could have been something else. Ryderdale got held up an absolute treat, by the way, in the pit lane. As you mentioned, he's down in 17th. How the good have fallen, I think, is what I can say about him. Down in 17th position. Right now, at the minute, he is, he went from literal hero to zero. Is what I'll say, and I don't mean that in the harshest of terms towards him. He just got absolutely done for by Flopman pitting in ahead of him. The same pit stop, the same teammate, F1 World Cars, clearly thinking about that. Oscar's into the pit lane as well. He obviously feels he's not confident. Flopman obviously feels he's not confident. Ryderdale's actually gone on the correct tyres. I think Tom has gone on the correct tyres as well, further down the field. So watch out for them
100%.
Later on. But because they're under the safety car, are the mediums now going to get to the end of the race, especially the likes of George Ansel, Ryan in the top 10? Are those mediums going to get to the end of the race? Because they are only wearing away at around about a 2%, 3% rate compared to around a 6% rate. So their tyre rate has halved pretty much under the safety car. Are those mediums now going to get to the end of the race? It's still going to be a push, but they could just do it now.
Yeah, I think it's possible. Especially considering some of the tyre-saving masterclasses we saw last week in Spain. I think it's possible. I think if George Ansel didn't have that penalty, he'd have a great chance of winning this race. Luca Rapassa is still arguably the favourite if he's able to get past Ansel very early on. Volokongan in a bit of a trickier spot here because he's on those 14 lap old tyres. And although track position is crucial here at the Hungaroring, there's going to be such a difference between him and everyone else in the field. We could still get a high result. The more safety cars, the better for the Norwegian. So it's Volokongan who leads out of Ansel in second, then it is Luca Rapassa, Cameron Dowds, Brando, Van Routen, Rayan, Van Unen, Hazara and Ryan. Great race this actually from Hazara, who has a shocking qualifying, but he's up to 9th, so points always a positive when qualifying goes astray.
Yeah, definitely so, and currently in there in 9th position, on a set of hard compound tyres, could potentially reap more rewards with George Ansel and Ian Van Unen's penalties as well. So he's definitely looking really good. Safety car is in this lap because Flopman has caught up to the back of the safety car. Those late safety car restarts are a thing on this game as well, as Flopman has just found out there. Volokogan now coming through the left-hander of turn number 13. He's going to back this up, I think, until right after the final corner, and then he decides to go. He doesn't want to decide to go too early. Volokongan now in towards turn number 13, still waiting. Now he ramps it up, and now he says go. Volokongan ramps it up, coming through turn number 14, and now George Ansel is right on the back of him this time around. Maybe a move down towards turn number 1. Here comes the press on the back of the Norwegian, trying to get the move done around the outside of turn number 1. Much fresher tyres will prevail, hopefully for George Ansel. Volokongan there showing him the door on the outside line, now coming down the hill in towards turn number 2. The pink-coloured livery getting ahead of Volokongan. George Ansel boonies into the race lead. Volokongan in second, Luke Rapatra in third. Great news for George Ansel. Bad news if you're Luke Rapatra and Cameron Dowds, because you're going to get held up an absolute treat throughout the entirety of this lap.
Yeah, Volokongan is going to be the So the blockade for the race lead, he'll have Rapasa and Dowds right behind. Luca Rapasa's got to get creative if he wants to overtake, but it could be a battle between himself and Cameron Dowds. A mistake from Rapasa. Very well held through the chicane by Luca Rapasa, because that could have got very, very wrong for him, and that would have been an almighty bottle, but thankfully he's tightened the lid on it, and the bottle will not be falling for now. George Ansell almost out of a second. He is now out of a second ahead of Volakongan, so Volakongan will be a sitting duck on the main straight, unfortunately, and Luca Rapasa and Cameron Dowds will be able to fly past. We're heading on to the 25th lap. Out of 35, George Ansell in the lead of the race with a timed penalty though, and here comes championship leader Luca Rapasa. The two championship rivals going to overtake Volakongan. Volakongan given the Michael Schumacher shove to the pit wall here at the Hungaroring, and he's defended very well as Volakongan. I'll give him his fair dues. Luca Rapasa trying to fling it around the outside. Great move by Rapasa. Dowds needs to dive down the inside. Here comes Cameron Dowds. The Scotsman has got the move done, and now Brando is looking to follow through. Volakongan though, still in front of Brando, but he has lost the 2 podium places that he had.
He has. He's dropping down the field like an absolute stone through water right now, Volakongan. My prediction for the race win definitely not going to be happening right now. It seems Volakongan though in 4th, Brando there in 5th. Brando trying to attack him now in towards the chicane once again, but George Ansell up the road. A second the gap. Luke Rapasa's tyres though are so much fresher compared to George Ansell's right at this stage of the race. You can see almost visibly the gap beginning to close. The second now the gap. Luke Rapasa just outside of the DRS zone on the back of George Ansell. But George is doing a really good job using that experience to good effect. Luca on the back though, championship leader, wants to try and reap more rewards as Tom, Oscar and Ryderdal are side by side in toward the right-hand turn number 12, right down to the bottom end of the field for 14th and for best scraps right now, right down the back end of the field. Nobody wants to get the wooden spoon coming through the final couple of corners. Ryderdal and Tom side by side. Tom inside line, showing Ryderdal the door, shows him the outside line. That's a bit harsh there from Tom, and now puts Flopman and Oscar right on the front foot, down and towards turn 1. Danny Van Ruyten going for the move on Volakongan as well. Still in full with his battle right down to the back end of the field. In the end, Ryderdal loses 2 positions. Tom needs to just maybe show the door a little bit cleaner next time, is what I will say. He's down in 14th, Ryderdal there in 16th. Good aggressive moves. Maybe they've got a bit of bad blood between them both early on in the race.
Yep, there goes Ryan up ahead of Leonardo in towards turn number 4, but is Leonardo going to fight back as well? No, he isn't. Luca Rapasa now slowly catching George Ansell. We'll get to see the Bell wide crash from his on board after the stream, folks, so make sure you stick around for that one. And of course the post-race interviews with whoever wins this race. It's very undecided as of now though. Rapasa versus Dowds for the race lead potentially, with George Ansell in the mix. This could get very tasty.
It could get very tasty indeed. Luke Rapasa right on the back of George Ansell. I think somebody said it earlier on in the comment section, not sure who might have been. It looked like it was going to be between Luca and Cameron, and I totally agree with that right now. I think those guys in the set of hards are looking so much better than George in that set of mediums. They've got more battery as well. George has got 40% and is using that up down the straight. Luke Rapasa, because of the DRS zone, he's right on the back of him in towards turn number 1. He's got 92% to try and waste. Ian Van Unen to the inside line. The turn number 1 on the back of Volakongan. Volakongan is sitting duck right now. Hazara, his fellow countryman, alongside him now down the straight. Ryan trying to dive it to the inside line. That's the thing about it. Goes to the outside line. Alpha Gully retires there in the pit lane. Ryan around the outside of turn number 2. Through the inside of turn number 3. Move done. Matteo going in the act as well. On the back of his fellow countryman Leonardo. They're up the hill and towards turn number 4. And they're still side by side, but Leonardo just about comes ahead. Tom to the inside line now on Matteo. Very, very reckless there. Nearly with a bit of contact between Matteo and Tom. They just about escaped with that. Matteo there in 12th. Tom there in 13th. My God, these guys are up for it tonight.
What a race as well so far from Eleanor Ryan. He's putting on a show in towards the points-paying positions up in 9th, but up the front of this one, George Ansell has been clawed in by Luca Rapasa, who's regained his whole battery in 2 laps. But Cameron Dowds is right behind, and Luca and Cameron have a clean slate in terms of penalties, so they're in a dead even battle. George Ansell has that penalty and is going to be under investigation for his pit entry, but he now may lose the race lead. Here's Rapasa in towards first place. Cameron Dowds has to get past as well. Is he able to get past Luca Rapasa? Late on the brakes? No, he isn't. Does get past George Ansell, so it is first and second in the championship, first and second out on the racing circuit here at the Hungaroring. This could be a very interesting battle as Brando gets past George Ansell. George is starting to struggle here, and Ian Van Unen gets past past Rayan. George Ansel hangs it round the outside, in towards the left-hander. Ansel is ahead, and does contact. Brando goes off the circuit and in towards turn number 5. Wow, fair play to Brando for surviving that one. That was getting very close indeed.
It was too close between them both. And Danny Van Ruyten, the man who puts his car normally in the right places, is putting his car in the right places right now because he's there in 4th on the back of George Ansel. George's tyres are gone, as I thought the mediums would at this stage of the race. Danny Van Ruyten is all over the back of him. But how on earth they avoided that contact, and how on earth both of them are still in the race, I do not know. Testament, I think, to how they handle these cars right now. George Ansel there in 3rd, Danny Van Ruyten in 4th, the leaders at 0.8 of a second between them both. Luke Rapazza's actually trying to escape up the road, it seems, compared to Cameron. But Danny Van Ruyten on board with him right now, coming to the right-hand of turn 14, coming out now down the straight in towards turn number 1, easy as you like. Is Brando got enough in the petrol and in the tank to go for the move? Not quite. He was late on the brakes there in towards turn number 1. May I up the move in towards turn 2? Don't think he's going to be close enough. Right now, Luke Rapazza leads, Cameron Dowds in 2nd, Danny Van Ruyten in 3rd. The guys in behind them, though, Evan, have got penalties. George Ansel on 3, Brando on 3, Ian Van Unen on 6, and Rayan on 3. That's going to bring Hazara, Ryan, Leonardo, Matteo, Tom, maybe even Ryder into play.
Yep, this is going to change up things severely, especially because they're so high up the field, the penalty runners in this one. But it was looking like Luca Rapazza was going to be able to drop Cameron. Just look at that tank of ERS that Cameron has on board once again. James, he's a master at ERS saving, as you've said in the past. And finally, you've got a prediction right. He is a master at saving his ERS. Lap 29 out of 35. George Ansel has fallen off the podium, which is very unfortunate, but could still pick up a decent result even with that penalty because of how many drivers have penalties right behind him. Hazara is up to 8th, and they're going to chase down Rayan. He'll be a big beneficiary of those penalties because he has none, and all 4 drivers in front who are within 3 seconds, he is within touching distance of them. Brando is now able to get past George Ansel just a handful of laps after he was almost into the wall at turn number 5.
And it could be Hazard for Hazara as well, right on the back of Rayan down and towards turn number 1, but he's not quite close enough, and it's not Hazard, unfortunately, for him. Just going to wait his turn, maybe on the back of Rayan, maybe wait for those tyres to go off the cliff before he attacks once again. But he's looking really good right now, I'm going to say Hazard. From the man who started, what, P20, I think it was, in this race? He's now, what, P8 out on track? This is a phenomenal drive from him. He's obviously got lucky with how this race has transpired with the safety cars. George Ansel the same as well. He's obviously now feeling the effects of those tyres. Right now, they're down in 5th, and he's under pressure, speaking of which, from Ian Van Unen coming through the chicane as well. This race, though, is developing into a 2-horse race, and it's Luke Rapazza and Cameron Dowds. If I was in Cameron Dowds' shoes right now, I wouldn't attack until the final lap of the race. I'd save all of that battery up. Danny Van Ruyten's not going to catch. He's got 22% ERS, and he's got 2 seconds to gain. He's not going to gain that. Luke Rapazza and Cameron Dowds are against each other. And I think Cameron is right now in the best seat in the house. He's there watching Luke Rapazza's every move, seeing where his weak spots are, not going to go for the move in towards turn 1. But if I was the Flying Scotsman, I'd try and make my charge in the final lap of the race. But then again, I'm not a driver.
No, and Cameron usually very good in these sort of situations, so I trust him to know what to do. But, well, with only a couple of laps, well, a bit more than a couple, but only a handful of laps remaining, I think that could be the smart choice, or maybe even 2 laps from the end. But Luca also has a lot of ERS, so if he leaves it to the last lap, is it too late? But then if he goes on the second last lap, will Luca able to go on the last lap? It's a little bit of a double-edged sword, so it'll be very interesting to see what Cameron Dowds can do. Leonardo picking up a free second time penalty. That's another man to the penalty shenanigans, as he is currently in 10th. That would drop him out of the points, and it would give Matteo a point score. So those safety cars did help Matteo, the 2-time PSGL champion, F2 and F1. He would like a bit more than just a solitary point, though, so he is looking to still cut through the field and make a couple of overtakes, especially on Leonardo in front. No dive down the inside from him, but he might go for it in towards the first corner. We're coming on to the 32nd lap of 35 action, almost over here in the Hungaroring, folks, but it's still, as we said earlier, very undetermined.
It is very undetermined indeed. Tom on the back of Matteo, one of the most experienced, if not the experienced guy in PSGL, PSF1 right now. on the back of Matteo. Matteo, though, on the back of his fellow countryman Leonardo, down in towards turn number 1. Also saw Hazara past George Ansel, I think, in towards turn 1 there as well. Matteo, very hot on the brakes. And now Tom going to try and use that experience a good effect. Oh, he catches a slide. Coming out of turn number 1 as well. No chance he's going to go for that move in towards turn number 2. Very, very squirrely on that back end. Still, Luke Rapata and Cameron Dowds lead the way. And because there are more straights than corners around this track in terms of DRS zones, Luke Rapata and Cameron Dowds have got that gap out to 2.7 seconds. Danny Van Rooyen in no man's land right now is struggling. Hazara, Ian Van Inden in trouble. Ian Van Inden dropping down the field. He's got caught on the left-hand side. Through turn number 5, no foot wing on the car. Definitely a weave and a wing waggle there from the car. He's got a 3-second penalty. He is done, I think, out of this race. Not sure if there was a bit of contact maybe coming through turn number 4, but he's ended up through turn number 5 on the left-hand side. He smashed the car into the wall. And because it's so late in the race, there's no safety car or VSC. So Ian Van Unen's going to have to come in and retire the car.
Yeah, race done for the two-time PSGL F1 podium sitter of Ian Van Unen. He will play no further part. Cameron, definitely waiting for the last lap. Not burning too much ERS, only burning a little bit in the middle sector like he has been all day. And he will wait for this final lap, and it's going to be a very intriguing shootout between first and second in the championship. Crucial for the championship places. Matteo and Leonardo battling, and Tom getting involved as well. Tom going to try and hang it around the outside.
Yep, and that's the experience coming into play there from Tom. And he's there in 10th position. Leonardo there in 11th. Really, really good. Right on track. And these guys are showing their experience into play. Rodadal right underneath. Almost bump drafting Leonardo in towards turn number 4 there as well. The gap's still increasing, though, out in front right now. It's like a Microsoft advert. Don't know why that's coming up on the stream. If you've been experiencing that, I'm sorry. Luke Rapata leading the way. Cameron Dowds in second. Could Cameron Dowds actually go for it this time around? Because he's so close on the back of Luca. Luca's obviously had to do the donkey work in front. Is this Cameron Dowds' time now to shine? He is coming to the left-hand return number 13. He's got Danny Van Rooyen in behind. Doesn't need to worry about him. Just need to worry about keeping the car within the white lines and with the car ahead of him. The Cameron Dowds through the final corner, on the run to the line now. Going on to lap 34. He's going to go for the move. He's going to go for the attack. Here comes the Flying Scotsman. Pulling to the right-hand side, in towards turn number 1. Job done. Shooting for Cameron Dowds. Luke Rapata tries the up and under. Tries to get the up and under as well through turn number 1. Not over and done with yet, but Cameron Dowds has got that DRS zone down the straight, in towards turn number 2. Job done for Cameron Dowds. He takes the race lead.
Yep, Cameron Dowds ahead in the race lead, but this one is certainly not over just yet. Ryder Dald is pulling into the pit lane. He'll retire the car as well. Was having a good race, was last week's race winner, but unfortunately that wasn't able to continue. Crucially enough, Cameron Dowds is not dropping Luca Rapasa. Rapasa is still right with him, and Luca has a tank load of ERS as well as they go bumping over the chicane. We've seen a couple of cars have problems over that chicane, Cameron Dowds being one of them, and now they're starting, or Cameron is starting to stretch his legs here in this final bit of the second sector, as that is Flotman battling with Ryan. We'll catch up with that in a moment, but we got to keep our eyes here in this battle for the race lead. They're heading in towards the penultimate hairpin at the Hungaroring. We've had 34 strange enough laps in terms of strategy. It's all sorted itself out, and now they head into the final corner. 1 point separates them in the championship. 3:10 separates them out on track. It's Cameron Dowds versus Luca Rapasa, and Rapasa is into the slipstream. The Dutchman's going for the long way about it. Dowds defends in towards turn number 1. Rapasa's forced a longer way, and now he's got the exit. He's got the traction. Luca Rapasa, the winner on Austria, is ahead in Hungary, and he's looking to stay in front of the McLaren.
If Cameron's good with his ERS, though, we can try and come back in the second half of this lap. Matteo, by the way, went round the outside of Tom, and now he's picking up the medium runners as well. Matteo's on an absolute charge late on there into 6th position, went around the outside of the chicane on Tom as well, I should mention. Cameron Dowds, though, on the back of Luca, now trying to find some sort of weakness from the man, from the championship leader right ahead of him. Tom now dropping down the field, further down the field, but Cameron Dowds, the Shazoo teammate, right on the back of Luca Rapata, now coming through, and he has saved a bit of ERS, and now he's going to try and attack in towards turn number 12, but he's run wide, coming through in towards turn number 11, and that's going to set him back. Luca Rapata currently looks like he's got this. Cameron Dowds, 2% more than Luca Rapata right now. As he flies in towards turn 13, Luca Rapata looks like he's got one corner between himself and another victory here in PSGL PSF1. The championship leader is going to take a champion's victory here on the run to the line. Luca Rapata wins. Cameron Dowd's there in second. Danny Van Ruyten there, going to come across the line in third. Brando's had a very good race and a good recovery to finish in fourth. Hazara there in fourth as well, because Brando's got a penalty, remember. Matteo there in sixth. A gaggle of cars coming across the line. Tom smashes that into the wall, I think, in the background. Floatman definitely very annoyed with himself as well. But Luke Rapata takes the race win. He's been a consummate professional in that race, and it just showed that was a champion's drive from Luke Rapata, and we're only on round 5.
Yep, great race by Luca. He is going to stand on the podium once again here in PSGL F1. Narrowly missed out last week, but he's got a second career victory. And Luca Rapasa, who when we're back in the normal cars will be representing Sauber, he's really putting Sauber up there. And after his promotion into PSGL F1, the ET8 esports driver is enjoying this championship campaign. But it's Luca Rapasa who'll stand tall ahead of Cameron Dowds and Danny Van Ruyten.
Yeah, very strong racing out on track. And in the end, I think that battle showed not just the commitment from Luke Rapata, but also the commitment from Cameron Dowds. They could have easily went into the final lap of the race with a bit of reckless abandon and with a little bit of, I don't know, aggressiveness out on track, but they didn't. They acted really cool, really calm, really collected. That's what we like to see from our drivers here in PSGL, PSF1. And honestly, I'm very, very happy that Luca got that race win. Like I said in the chat, this kid is him. He's definitely looking like that right now. It is Luke Rapata out on top from Cameron Dowds in second, Danny Van Ruyten there in third, Hazara there in fourth, 20th on the grid up to fourth, well deserving of a mention. Brando there in fifth, Matteo 18th on the grid up to sixth. Tom there in seventh with Ryan in eighth, Ryan there in ninth, and George Ansel ran off the top 10. What could have been for him if the race transpired? Flopman, Oscar, Leonardo, Volokongan, Radadal, 14 finishes in the end. Volokongan with the fastest lap of the race as well. Then it's Radadal, Ian Van Unen, Alva Gully, and the rest who DNF'd out of the race.
Sorry folks, the race just didn't come up on my screen, so you didn't get to see the graphic, but James ran through. I think that's the second week that's happened as well, weirdly enough. We will get some interviews in a moment, but I do want to show you one thing first. I have managed to get my hands on this. I'm hoping this works. This is Belby's crash in the middle of the race where he went over. Obviously, James can't see my OBS screen, but our microphones are on. We will mute this just in case anything is said, and we'll go full screen. But this is the crash as it starts. You know what? We'll fully restart it, and we'll go as he's heading round through the hairpin. Volokongan dives down the inside, as you can see, and then it goes across the chicane, and then this is where all sorts of chaos kicks off. An illegal overtake for Belby on Volokongan, but Danny Van Ruyten is able to clear home through. And then watch this, folks. A very weird crash. There was a bit of contact made. He goes and then just bang, rotates over. A very, very weird sort of a collision and a disappointing end to the race for Belby. But that's just F1 24 just coming back to be a very unique sort of piece of software, I think, because he just spins back onto what's a very smooth racetrack and flips over.
It is, and he actually got tagged from the back, and because he got caught, I think there's a bump there on the outside of turn number 12, if I'm not mistaken, or at the outside of turn number 11, on the inside as you come off the curb. I think, honestly, he's got very unlucky there as Belby. He was wearing tyres as well. He's just really, really been tagged, put in the wall, and unfortunately his race has ended from there. It was very unfortunate. It could have easily acted differently, but in the end, it proved to be a safety car, and it proved to be another safety car after that as well. But we shouldn't take anything away from the top three. Cameron Dowds is currently in the waiting room, so we can drag them across any, and I think Luke Rapata is going to join us as well. In fact, all three of them are going to join us.
Nice one. Big thanks to Belby actually for sending on that on board as well, because obviously the last thing he probably wanted was a message from me asking for a video clip after his crash. But a big thanks for providing that so we could get a little bit more context on what actually happened in that race. Let's bring in Cameron Dowds then. Luca not joining us for now, so we'll start with the second placement. Hello Cameron, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Congratulations on the podium, but not quite the race win you were going for. Did you think you had it when you went for the move on lap 34?
I don't really know how bad the dirty air was. I thought maybe when I got ahead, I could maybe get the gap to 6-7 tenths, but I couldn't, and that's just what happened. But because when I was behind, it was so hard to stay behind. So I thought when I got in front, it might be quite difficult, but it wasn't. He was like 2 tenths behind me going onto the straight, so it impossible to defend.
In terms of the championship, then I know Luca has outscored you again today, but it's still like so close between the two of you. Are you still confident heading into the second half of the season and heading into the final couple of races?
I wouldn't say confident. I mean, Luca's rapid, especially. I did a good quali today, but in qualifying usually I'm pretty dreadful, so that could come to hinder me. Usually in the race I'm quite quick, but I reckon if I lose the championship, it probably be down to the qualifyings that I'm having at the moment. But today was decent quali. I did a PB by like a 10th.
And then looking into the next couple of weeks, are you just going to take it race by race and try and improve where you can, or is there one thing that you know you got to do to beat Luca?
Qualifying. It's as simple as that. I know in the race that, you know, if I play my cards right, I can probably beat him. But well, I'm not. Maybe he's absolutely rapid, but in the qualifying, it's just in the past that's what's been hindering me in the races. If I can just keep the qualifying that I did today and just keep in the top fives in quali, then I'll probably have a good chance.
James, any questions from yourself?
Only one question from me, really. Of course, next week is Japan, which is a very, very strong track for most of the drivers on the grid. First of all, how do you think you're going to get on? And second of all, where do you think you're going to come by the end of this time next week?
I've not actually done Japan on this game, so I don't actually know how it feels. I'll have to see. Hopefully it can be a win, but I don't know. I'll just have to put the practice in and hope it's a good track for me.
Yeah, definitely. So Japan is one of those tracks which is completely different to Hungary, where the race can be dragged out somewhat, and I think is what Cameron was on about there with his final 2 laps. Definitely trying to drag Luke Rapata outside of 5-6 tenths per second, and then try and get that race win. Very unfortunate though. P2 out on track. Congratulations on the podium. Go and enjoy your evening.
Yep, thank you. You too.
And none of them's in the waiting room.
No, unfortunately they have agreed to do an interview, but they haven't actually quite joined the interview, which is it's not unfamiliar for our interviews certainly to go wrong. It was great to see everyone in the stream chat enjoying that race nonetheless. And James, I think we had a very good race for the Hungaroring's usual standards.
Definitely. So I think season 33, where Volokungan won that race, was definitely on par with what we saw here tonight. It's not the clean driving standards, obviously, that we had in Austria and Spain. This race completely different. You said it earlier on, Monaco without the barriers, and it's definitely that case. It proved to be that. But then we go to Japan next week, which is a complete different kettle of fish. It's a much more high speed, low degradation, low downforce track. So the drivers are going to have to be really on the ball, I think, for Japan. Cameron Dowd's saying he hasn't even done it, which is very concerning for me if I'm a Cameron Dowd's fan right now. But if I'm Luke Rapata, I'd be looking at that and thinking, right, there's a weakness. We can build on that within the ET8 camp, and we can actually try and take the fight to Cameron Dowd's next week.
Now, a week is still plenty of time. Cameron will be fine. A week is plenty of time to practice the track. It's not that major of an issue just yet. If this was maybe next Sunday evening and he goes, I haven't driven the track yet, you might be saying, okay, but he can adapt quickly to a track, he can adapt quickly to conditions, and he will still be quick. It doesn't seem like we're getting anyone else in the interview room, unfortunately, James. None of the other podium placers want to join us.
Yeah, they're having too busy with debrief, I think, after that race. Certainly with Luke Rapata's win, certainly as well with that podium. Very deserved podium from Danny Van Ruyten, who in the end ran off his feet by the front two, just how consistent they were. Speaking of the man, Luke Rapata's in the waiting room.
Ah, lovely. We shall bring Luca in now.
He's on PlayStation.
Yeah, he's on PlayStation. Fantastic. We will have to wait for Luca Rapata once again to join us. But Luca's second win of the season. And as James said, it was a champion's drive.
It was a champion's drive. It was just phenomenal, I think, from his perspective. And in the end, we're going to have to go across to him, aren't we?
Yep, probably. If you want to drag us across to him, I will change the audio file and we can hear from Luca Rapata.
No worries. I will jump. Him in as well. And there he is.
Yep, so we're going to hear from Luca Rapassa in a moment. 1 second, let me just change the audio now. We should be able to hear. Luca, hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Congratulations, second win of the season. You left it late,
Yeah.
but a fine win nonetheless.
Yeah, it was literally a perfect race. GG to Cameron. Was a clean battle. Everything was perfect for me. Started with qualifying, was very good. I'm very happy with the lap. Then I think we made the right choice with the strategy, bit the right lap. Bit lucky with the safety car, but you need to have that sometimes. Yeah, everything was perfect. Then I decided to let Cameron not fight it too much. Yeah, and try to overtake on the last lap, run the outside, it worked. Yeah, everything worked out.
Championship lead, although marginal, it is still a PSF1 championship lead. Does that give you a lot of confidence heading into Suzuka next week?
Of course, give me confidence, but the season's long. Just because I got this gap doesn't mean anything. If I have one bad race and Cameron wins the next one, he's literally back and will be ahead of me. So I just take it race by race for now.
James, any questions for the race winner?
No, it's definitely a good approach, I think, to have from Luca Rapazza's perspective. Yeah, one question from me. Were you shocked that Cameron Dowds went for the move on the penultimate lap of the race? Were you expecting him to do it on the final lap?
I don't know, to be honest. I don't know what his plan was, but I don't really mind. I think if I stayed ahead of him, or if he didn't go for the move, honestly think I still could have been ahead of him. But you never know, of course. Maybe I had a shit lap, shit sector first, and then he would have overtaken me very easily. But I don't know, just happy with what happened, and yeah, I won the race. So.
Yeah, won the race, extended the championship lead as well. Going into the next few races, I'll just run through the next 4 tracks that we've got. We've got Japan, Jeddah, Mexico, and Belgium. What out of those 4 would you say is your best track, and what would you say is your weakest track?
I don't have a best trick, but I haven't done Suzuka yet, so I don't know about that one. But I'm pretty strong at Spa and Jeddah, so yeah, we'll just see what happens there. You never know.
Interesting. Japan has not been done by Cameron Dowds or Luca Rapazza. That's going to be very interesting going forward into next week.
Says Danny.
Luca. Yeah, and indeed, Danny Van Royten is going to be right there or thereabouts. Congratulations on the race win, Luca. Go and enjoy evening.
You too, guys.
And I think we can do Danny Van Royten next. Danny, are you with us?
Yes.
Fantastic. Congratulations. P3 out on track. Those 2 pesky meddling kids ahead of you got away from you. And in the end, ended up with P3, but it's still a very solid result.
Yeah, it's fine. I was hoping for more, but after the double stack, I really didn't think I would be P3 in the end, but it was a good comeback.
Yeah, how that race worked out with you? Obviously, you did have that double stack. I think, was it the first or the second safety car you had that?
I had it without safety car, so first pit stop was lap 8 or 9, I think, and I was pitting the same lap as Cameron, and he was my teammate, so I lost about 6-7 seconds, I think, and I was P15 when I came out, but I overtook like 6 people and I think 6-7 laps.
Yeah, which was really good, and obviously you made that progress throughout the field. Did the safety cars help at all as well with how that race transpired? With obviously 2 being out and you making up those positions, did it transpire to be a good thing in the end?
Yeah, it did help because Brando was quite a bit in front of me. I think I would have caught him anyway, but now I had more chance on P1 and P2, but like when Brando and George were in front of me, that fought a lot, so that cost us like a few seconds, and I tried to clear the gap, but I couldn't get to the front guys. I was over trying.
Yeah, and obviously P3 though is still a very solid result, definitely going into the next 3 races. Evan Dalton, bit of a change up. Any questions?
Yeah, this is different. We're doing it in a different format for this one. Danny, in terms of today's race, then we saw a bit of tough battling out there. Are those the kind of races that you enjoy?
Yeah, of course, it's always nice to battle tough, but has to be clean at all times, and I think that was the case today. Like with me, there were some other people that had crashes, but I wasn't involved, luckily.
That's about it from me, James. I think Danny has covered most of it, and I think he's going to be feeling good now that Luca and Cameron haven't actually practiced Suzuka just yet.
He's definitely going
I
to be
haven't
feeling
as well,
very...
so
Oh, lovely. Well, there we go.
We're all in the same boat, aren't we? Goodness me. I
Yeah.
haven't done Japan, to be fair, on the game either, so I can definitely throw my hat into the ring, even with me being a commentator. But Danny Van Rooyen, P3, out on track. Go and enjoy your evening.
yeah, thank you. Same.
Very welcome, and that is it.
Yeah, I think that's about all we've got time for, folks. A big thank you. Oh, James has slipped down on my screen for some reason with the camera. There he is. Hello, James. That's actually probably because we're in a different channel, but it's still picking up. That's impressive, actually. Fair play, OBS. But that's about all we do have time for here in PSGL, folks. Next week, of course, we head to Suzuka for the halfway point of this season's championship. My name's been Evan Dalton. Joined alongside me is James Head, of course. We will leave you with one final word from our sponsors. A big thanks for joining us here tonight for PSGL F1, and we do hope you join us once again next Monday at the same time. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you then. Bye-bye.
Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my phone, she got me locked in on cup though.